About 2 years ago, 50 had a short talk on Instagram talking about his relationship with his son. And you can tell me if he wants to meet his son or talk to his son ever again. Gonna play it for you guys.
Is there any chance at a reconciliation between you and your son? Because a lot of people from the outside, the boy looks just like you. A lot of people from the outside think that that situation is sad, man. Y'all can't come to
Yeah,
something.
it is sad. It's a sad situation, right? And when you pray for success, you don't necessarily pray for the things that come with it, right? And there's no such thing as success without jealousy, without envy or entitlement.
His mom developed an entitlement that cannot be met, filtering that energy through his actual personal interests. He added that there's also a sense that Jackson's supposed to have more. So, while being a privileged child, he feels deprived. He continued, "You had everything I didn't have." The saddest moment came when Lathan asked 50 if he still had love for his firstborn.
I used to. You ask yourself how long, a complicated question would say, how long can you love something that don't love you back?
Mm.
My
Hmm.
grandfather used to say, "If it rattles like a snake and slithers like a snake, is it a snake or do you need to be bit?" What he keeps saying is, every time you see the boy, he show up with somebody you got a problem with. What does that tell you? Finally, 50 brought up the photos that his son took with the son of Supreme Griff, one of 50's longtime adversaries.
You're taking pictures with preens on or doing different things that, and you go, well, I'm like, I don't even understand where your motivation comes from.
While someone may consider Marquise Jackson to be relatively young, 50 also refused to excuse any of his actions based on his age. He's 23, 24 years old, he explained. He's not a baby no more. That's a grown man. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Now that you kind of
Well,
So, do you think that $6,700 will get him even 10 minutes, let alone the 24 hours?
no, I don't think so.
Show your view on this, RJ.
Well, I
What's your
think, yeah, I don't. I think that I don't know if you can call this irreconcilable, but this is you can see that the problem it goes. It's not a problem of only the child support. You know, it's more complicated than that. So let's take it back for a minute. When you have a child, you asked me a question like a couple of minutes back, and it looked more like a setup, but okay. You asked me if I would claim someone like that. And I believe that I believe that if a person is your child, the child didn't ask to be in this world, so you need to take care of the child. So claim him in the sense that you would take care of him. Yes, of course. If he doesn't want to have anything with you, then there's not much you can do. Um, but sometimes, oh, like I think you have to always remember, especially if you're a man, that you have one responsibility, one important responsibility, and that responsibility is there both if you are with the mother or if you're not with the mother, and that is the responsibility to provide for your child. I can tell you, KR, that I've seen. I I don't do child support cases anymore. I used to do a lot of child support cases in the past. A lot of people cannot pay child support. They cannot pay child support. Sometimes you might ask yourself the question if a couple had, if it was a good idea for them to have a child. Because sometimes neither the mom nor the dad can pay.
for
Now
the
you
kid?
can,
You mean, or
not even for themselves sometimes,
mm,
because they don't know how to manage the money.
mm.
If they knew how to manage the money, then they would not have had kids. if if they knew how to manage the money, they would not have had kids, or at least make um, make better decisions. What you oftentimes see is that the kid, the you have some people that they don't earn a lot of money, or maybe they do earn a lot of money, but they don't manage the money correctly. And if you don't manage the money,
Yeah.
what you often see is that they live, let's say they rent a house, they have one or more credit cards or short-term loans with high interests. And of course, they have to keep the car shining, and they don't know how to prioritize things. That's what I want to say. So, in moments like these, when you go to court, the court will look at your. So I can only speak of the U.S. system, because that system seems crazy to me when you hear the horror stories. That's just as a crazy system. Where you have to pay for the ex-wife's lawyers as well. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. But let's say, to keep it in the realm of the Dutch legal jurisdiction as well, European jurisdiction as well. They're different. You don't get a lot often, and oftentimes, if you can't pay, let's say if you don't have money, the court will order you to pay something, but then it would be a minimum. You know how many people, how many women have a court document that states that the man has to pay child support, and the man doesn't pay? You know how often that happens? It happens a lot. It
Choke
happens
knows about it.
a lot. Who knows about it?
Choke.
Choke knows about it, yeah. So it happens a lot. Now, to bring it back to this case, and just to finish that thought before I proceed, I think that a father has a duty to provide for his kid. Now the question becomes, what falls under provision? With 600 or $6,700 dollars, or $6,700, like I mentioned already in the previous show, guys. If you didn't watch it, go check it out. But like I already mentioned, it's more than a majority of people earn in a year. So to put your father out like that, I don't think that it's something that is his opinion. I don't know if it's his mother's opinion. I do think that it's people around him that has filled his mind with thoughts like that. And why do I say that? Out of experience. Both parents, when there's a dispute relating to the child, both parents need to protect the child from that dispute. So if the parents have a dispute with one another, they have no business telling the kid about that dispute. They should handle their dispute in private. The only reason why we can say in this situation is that the mother might have influenced his thoughts is because he's living with the mother. So the mother has custody. But if it were the other way around, that could have also been the case. If the kid was staying at the father's house, it could have also been the case. The only way to prevent it is to shield your child from the disputes between the parents. Now I believe that the issue is so far gone because he's basically hanging around with people who his father considered his enemies, taking pictures. You go out and you blast your father in public while you are receiving enough money and child support,
And education paid for.
and your education paid for. So I think that, and I think this is not something, I think this is something that has been going on for years now, because they have, I mean, this is not new, the beef between 50 and his son.
No.
That's very unfortunate, but I think that it's going to be very difficult to, I mean, 50 cannot unclaim his child, but the man is an adult now. He has nothing, he has no obligations more towards him.
It's hard to unclaim the child that looks like you.